face in the presentation, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you have questions as the presentation is going on, you're more than welcome to ask the questions in the chat. You can direct it to your specific counselor if you'd like, or you can do it to everybody, and then a counselor will respond to you. Unfortunately, because I'll be presenting, I might not have access to seeing what's in the chat. So Mrs. Bates, Mrs. Curry, Mrs. Chagnon, or Mr. Sager may be the ones to respond to that. So counselors, do you guys want to introduce yourself in alpha order?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Mrs. Chagnon, counselor for students with the last name A through C. And I will definitely be answering your questions in the chat if you have them, along with the other counselors.
Yes, and I'm Miss Toledo. I will be presenting today, and my alpha is D through H.
Morning, Broncos. Mr. Sager, my alphabet this year is I through the letter M as in Mary, and halfway through that N as in Nancy. So MN.
Morning, I'm Mrs. Curry. I have MO through SB.
And seniors, I'm Mrs. Bates. I'm rounding out the end of the alphabet with SC through Z. Yay, class of 2022.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And if one of the counselors can let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, you got it.
Perfect. Ooh, of course it wanted to sign me out. There we go. So I'm going to present. All right. And just so you guys know, seniors, also and parents who may be with us today, I'll be the one presenting, but if at any time one of the other counselors, if I say something and it jogs their memory, they may just pause me for a second so they can chime in with whatever it is on their mind. So just so you know, we may be going back and forth a little bit throughout today's presentation. But for today, we are going to do the senior college presentation where we'll be talking about the CSU, UC, and common applications, as well as transcripts, letters of recommendation, test scores, and all of that good stuff. So for today,
and Miss Toledo, will this be sent out through Canvas or posted on our website so they'll have access to the links and stuff?
Yes, so the presentation itself will, so what you're seeing on your screen will be available in Canvas after today's presentation, as well as the recorded presentation. So you'll get both. If you just need all the links, you'll have that. And then if you need the actual presentation to rewatch it to hear what we say, then you'll have that as well. So thank you, good question. So for today's objectives, the students will be able to gather information on the basics of applying to different colleges and universities, learn how to order transcripts for college. We're gonna reiterate this a lot, the transcripts are only required for the Common App and SendEdu colleges and universities, as well as those that might use parchment, and we'll go over that later. Be able to navigate the brag packet, which is only required for the Common App, and then learn where to view videos detailing how to apply for a UC, CSU, or fill out the common applications. And just so you guys are aware, anytime you see this little link in the presentation, that means that there's an actual live link to a website. And anytime you see a little video, that means that there's a link to a viewable video to show you how to run through the process of either applying for an application or setting up an account. So we have different links to different things throughout this presentation. Okay, so again, just general information. We're going to go over transcripts, the cost, where to purchase it, letters of recommendation, SAT and ACT and AP scores, and then also understanding our quarter, which equals a semester, that system, and how to navigate that on an application. So here we go. All right, so we're going to start off with transcripts first, and transcripts are for students applying to Common App and SendEdu schools. What's going to happen is when you are applying for a college, it's going to ask for your counselor's email, and you're going to type that email in so that, and they will get notified that you are requesting a transcript. Once that's done, you're good to go, and you don't have to worry about that. And then you will have to send one final transcript to the college you're actually attending. So whenever you decide, like in May 1st, I believe, or maybe even sooner, which college you'll be going to, you'll be able to send that transcript in to the college you're actually attending. Some schools are going to need a transcript, but it's not going to be through Common App and it's not going to be through SendEdu. Typically, that means that you're going to be ordering a transcript through Parchment. Transcripts do cost $4.15 to order. And then again, so here we have the link. This is the link to Parchment. So once you get the presentation, you can go ahead and click this and it'll take you to the live link. And then you'll create an online account. Again, it's only required for non-UC, CSU, and Common App or SendEdu schools, okay? I just had a student yesterday who was applying, I think, to Boise State, and it didn't require SendEdu transcript or Common App. They were using Parchment, so there are colleges that are going to require the Parchment transcript. It takes 2 weeks working school days in order for it to process, and they'll be sent virtually anywhere in the United States. So here we have the video link. So if you have any questions on how to create a Parchment account, or if you need to navigate Parchment, there's a lot of video links here that will help you through that process. Okay. All right, so the second thing we want to go over is the letters of recommendation. Just so you guys know, none of them are needed for UC or CSU applications. So for those of you who you're like, I'm only applying to UCs or Cal States, you do not need a letter of recommendation, which also means you do not need to fill out the brag packet. So here we have the brag packet with the link. You get to click on that, and it'll force you to make a copy, if it allows me to. Okay, maybe it's not allowing me to. So, oh, there it is. So this is directly from our Rancho Bernardo High School website, and you'll be able to, so what we want you to do is print it out and then fill in all of the information that it's requiring of you, and then hopefully hand deliver it to, hopefully hand deliver it to your, the person who's going to be writing your recommendation. Okay.
You can also just type straight in there as well, and email it or share us with the link, or share the link with us as well. If you don't want to print it, that's totally fine too.
Yeah. So you can, it's a live document, so you guys can type into it and send it to whoever it is going to be writing your letter of recommendation. Okay. And then for the letter of recommendation, it's only required for some Common App schools. So not all of them are going to require the letter of recommendation. And here is an example. This is taken directly from Common App. So whatever school you might be applying to, there's going to be, when you're looking on the website, recommendations. So you'll see for one specific school, they want the school report, the final report, and then you'll see that the evaluations, which are also called recommendations, it's not required for this particular school. Okay, here you can see recommendations. The school report is required. That's going to be all from your counselor, so you don't have to worry about that. And it also says counselor recommendation required. So if it does say that for the school that you're applying to, then that's where you'll want to fill out the brag packet so that we have that information and we can upload, or we can write a letter of recommendation and then upload that on your behalf. We're asking for a minimum of 10 school days to ask your counselor for a letter of recommendation. Again, and especially even for if you're in my alpha, since I'm new here and I haven't gotten to know you, it might be nice to come and visit personally, just so I can put a face to a packet or a name. And then just so you guys know that the final due date to turn in a request for a letter of recommendation is November 12th of 21. Okay, so that's an important date to remember if you're going to apply to a Common App school that requires a letter of recommendation.
And just a little note on that, you guys, the reason why we require so much time in advance is because we write each of your letters not from a form letter, it's all from scratch based on your strengths and your involvement in school. So we appreciate having the ability to take time to write those, and we really do spend a lot of time writing your letters of rec. So that's why we asked for so much time.
And as a new counselor to this part of the alphabet, it would be great if you could come in and introduce yourself when you send me the request, just so like Ms. Toledo said, I can put a name with a face and you could do the same.
Awesome. All right. All right, so another big topic people have been talking about are the SATs and ACTs. Some colleges, or you could send them to your colleges, and low scores don't matter. We want you to send all your scores. So most schools now, including UCs and Cal States, are testing optional, which means that your SAT scores may be factored into your admissions process. However, it is not required. Okay. However, if you want to, you could still send your SAT scores. It's not going to penalize you. Community colleges do not require ACT or SAT scores. There is a fee involved in sending SATs and ACTs. However, you do get 4 for free. So if you're applying to a UC and you want to send in your SAT scores, one workaround around that is to check share info with other campuses, because that way you're not sending it individually and then it's going to eat up all 4 of your free test scores that you could send. So if you check off share info with other campuses, that'll just count as 1 of the 4 free. And then for CSU, that'll again also be 1, and you want to use the college code 3594 to send it to all of the Cal States that you're going to be applying to. So that would again just be 1, and then 2 others will remain for free for other institutions. And then if you're applying for like an NCAA school and playing sports, you can use the code 9999, and that would count as 1 of the 4 free as well. So just wanted to go over that. And then AP test scores. So sometimes we get questions about AP tests. This is only information that you want to send to a college or university that you're actually attending. So after you've agreed to attend a college and you've sent in your letter to attend, then that's the school that you want to send your AP test scores. They do not use your AP test score for admissions purposes. It's all used just for college credit determination. So if you've passed 2 or 3 AP tests, they're going to use that as like part of college credit, not necessarily toward admissions. And then for free reporting, when you apply to take the AP test or an AP test during your senior year, you can actually choose 1 school to report your score for free. So let's say, for example, you really want to go to UCLA and your heart is in UCLA. And when you're taking your AP test and you're like, well, I don't really know if I got in, you can still check off that you want to have your AP test scores sent to UCLA, and that'll just be the 1 college that it'll be sent to for free. And hopefully you get in.
Miss Toledo?
Yes.
Just a second, you guys on the AP test scores, you should all by May 1st have paid your deposit and know where you're going. And so before the AP tests actually start, you can go to My AP and indicate seniors what school you confirmed and put that on there so that they can get your AP test scores once they arrive in July.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Mrs. Curry. All right. So one thing that I do want to point out is that we in your college applications, please indicate that we are a semester school. So I know that we talk about quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. When you're looking at your college application, I want you guys to know that quarter 1 is equivalent to semester 1. Quarter 2 is equivalent to semester 2. Quarter 3 is equivalent to semester 1. It's kind of like a reset in semesters. And then quarter 4 is semester 2. And so here's an example. This is taken directly from Common App, and it looks very similar to the UC and Cal State applications. It's going to give you either bubbles or a drop down where you can choose what type of scheduling system we have here at Rancho Bernardo High School. And you are going to click on semester. If you click on quarter, you are going to be short credits because in the quarter system, it's going to be 2.5 credits per class instead of the 5 that we would want you to get for the semester. Okay. So hopefully we're good on that. I know that that has been an issue in the past, and we want to make sure that you guys get all the credits you need and not have to redo any application. So again, we are a semester school for the purpose of applications. So here, this is just an example that quarter 1, it's go on your transcript when you're filling in your applications. You may have a copy of your transcript. You want to fill it in as semester. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, they're all going to go in as semesters. Okay. The next piece of information I want to go over is related to COVID, because I know that all of you guys, since you're all applying at the same time, it's going to likely affect quarter 4 of your sophomore year, which was 2019. Everybody either got credit for their class, which is CR, or you might see NCR if you got no credit for the class. Be mindful when you are filling out your application that some schools or some applications are going to actually have the word credit, and some schools or their applications will have a P for pass. Just know that credit and pass you could use them interchangeably. They're the same thing. And so for the UC application, they will actually have the credit option, whereas the Common App and the Cal State applications will have the pass option. So if you see a pass and then you're like, but wait, I got credit, it's the same thing. So you'll be using either credit or pass interchangeably depending on the college application. Good on that? Yes? All right. FERPA, so FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which basically says a federal privacy law that gives parents certain protections with regard to their children's educational rights, such as report cards, transcripts, letter of recommendations, etc. When you're filling out the Common App, we want to make sure that you waive your FERPA rights. One, not only because it's a PUSD policy, but also because it's going to allow your school counselors to write letters of recommendation on your behalf. If you do not waive your rights, we will not be able to write you a letter of recommendation. So I just wanted to point that out, that as if you're filling out an application to a Common App school, please make sure to waive your FERPA rights so that we can write your letters of recommendation. All right, so financial aid. This is all the good money talk. For parents, if any parents are in here or even students who want to let your parents know, jointly with Poway High School, we're going to be hosting a financial aid night at the Poway Center of Performing Arts. That's going to be on September 21st of 2021. And they're going to be going over the application, how to fill it out, all that good stuff. And then we're going to do here at school on via Zoom, very similar to today. We're going to do a Rancho Bernardo High School financial aid walkthrough for students. And then parents, if you're interested in joining that as well, you can do that. And that's going to be on the morning of October 13th, 2021 via Zoom. And then if you're interested in any scholarships, who doesn't like free money, we will be doing a fast web Zoom application walkthrough on March 16th. And then if you're interested in taking a look at it sooner, there's a live link over here for FastWeb. And then for FAFSA, which is a financial aid website, we have that link here. the application opens on October 1st of 2021. So there's still a couple weeks before it opens. And then again, the financial aid night is September 21st. So you'll have all the information that you need before the application opens on October 1st. And then the deadline to complete financial aid, the financial aid application is March 1st of 2022. Okay. If you need recommendations or transcripts for scholarships, the application process for that will be very similar to that of getting your letters of recommendation or transcripts from your counselor. Just one pro tip that I want to throw out there is to complete the FAFSA application regardless of need. Just because things change, things happen financially, and we would hate for any of you guys to be in a position where you think everything is okay financially, and then something happens in your first or your second year of college, and now you're in a position of possibly like, oh, should I stay in college because I can't afford it? All of that kind of stuff. So just make sure to complete it regardless of what your need is, because we want you to be taken care of. So anything else with this? Any counselors want to say anything regarding financial aid? Nope. All right. So we are going to continue on. So the UC application, we broke it down for you guys. The live link is here. The applications are open. So if you haven't yet started, you can go ahead and click the link whenever, when we get this out to you guys, and you can start the application process. If you're interested in how to create a UC application account, you can go to the video. You can click that link. And then if you're curious to know how to fill out the UC application, we also have a link for you guys, a little video. The videos are no longer than like 15 minutes long for how to fill it out, and then how to create an account is like a 3-minute video. The deadline for the UC application is November 30th of 21. Okay, and then these are just some protocols that have come up from the UC application. And so if you're curious to know how COVID might affect admissions and all of that, this is a good slide to read, just so that you kind of understand how the UCs will be looking at their admissions as a result of COVID. And then also some other factors that may be considered in the application process. So if you're curious to know about that specifically for the UCs, all that information is here. I'm not going to go over it because it's a lot of words, but you guys will get a copy of this as well. So you can review that. And then the Cal State applications, just so you guys know that they're not open yet. It's going to open just like the financial aid application on October 1st at 6 a.m. So here is a live link to the actual application that opens on October 1st. Another video on how to create an account, and then how to complete the Cal State application, a video for that. And then the deadline, just like the UC app, is November 30th, 2021. Okay. And then similar to the UC information regarding COVID, we found the information for Cal States as well. So if you are curious to know how COVID might be affecting applications, I know it says for juniors, but there's also information in here that is pertinent to seniors as well. So you can take a look at that. And then Common App. So the Common App application is open. The live link for that is there. And then if you're curious how to create an account, how to complete the application, and then because the Common App is different from the other applications in the sense that you have to request a letter of recommendation or a transcript, you can go ahead and click this link to watch how to do it. So it's like another 2 to 3 minute video that will show you exactly what you need to do on your end in order to get the letter or the transcript from your counselor. All right. So some questions that we've gotten in the past are regarding early decision versus early action. So with early action, you apply early, you receive the decision early, but you can apply to other schools, and it's not going, if you opt for early action, you're not binding yourself to that school. Okay, just like the UC and Cal States and other schools, the deadline for that to decide where you're going to go is May 1st. Okay, whereas with early decision, you also apply early, you receive the decision early, but once you agree, or once you've clicked on or checked early decision for a particular school and you get in, you are bound to go to that school. So essentially any other acceptances you might get, those don't count because you are going to be bound to go to that one school that you have given early decision for. Am I explaining this correctly, Mrs. Curry? Yes, no?
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Okay.
you are. I was nodding my head, yes.
Oh, thank you. I'm like, I can't see. So again, this is like for students who, let's say both your parents went to Purdue and you're like, I really need to go to Purdue. My entire family went to Purdue and I have to go, or whatever the college might be. That might be a school that you want to make an early decision for because you know in your heart of hearts that that's where you want to go. And even if you got accepted to any other school, you're still going to pick Purdue. If you're not in that situation, then early action may be the one you want to take because then it'll still leave other options for you open and you're not bound to just one college or university. And then regular decision is you won't get any information early. You'll get the information as everybody else and you can apply to other schools, and then that deadline is May 1st to make your decision. Some frequently asked questions that we've gotten over the years is, when is the community college placement test? I'm going to be honest with you that date is to be determined. Last year, they actually did away with the placement test. That may be the case this year. We haven't heard exactly yet, but once we get information regarding that, we will let you know. Another question we've gotten is, do UC CSU schools require transcripts and letters of recommendation? No, we do not. Although once, let's say you've decided on May 1st that you do want to go to UCLA and you've sent in your intent, you will have to submit a transcript at that point, but you don't have to send one in during the application process.
And that would be through parchment.
Thank you. Should I complete the FAFSA? Absolutely. And then plan on attending financial aid night at the Poway Performing Arts Center.
One thing on that note, Ms. Toledo, is, you know, we hear a lot of students that, oh, my parents make too much money, or, oh, I plan on going to community college. But either way, you should fill out the FAFSA as soon as possible because a lot of scholarships depend on this FAFSA for financial information, as well as the Palomar Promise. So if you plan on going to community college, you've applied to a bunch of UCs or CSUs or private schools, but then end up deciding you want to go to Palomar, the only way to get the promise, which is the 2 years for free, part of the eligibility requirement is filling out the FAFSA. So it's just a good idea to do it anyway, regardless, because you're not really sure what you're going to do. In addition to, some schools might also require the CSS profile. So just be aware of that.
Thank you. That's really good information. And then lastly, one of the questions that we commonly get is, do I need to complete a brag packet? And that's only if you need a letter of recommendation from your counselor. And that is also if you're only applying to a Common App school. So next week, we're going to be doing part 2 of our college series, Wednesday, September 15th at 7:30 a.m. During that time, we're going to be going over personal essay, tips and tricks, and then also insight questions. And then we're going to have a live Q&A. If you have any questions from the presentation, let's say you go home and you watch all the videos and you're like, oh, I still have a burning question. Next week would be a great time to join us so that you can get your questions asked at that time. But it looks like we maybe have about 5 to 10 minutes left. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then, have all the questions in the chat box been answered?
Yeah, so the last question was, any benefits to doing early decision? Keep in mind that early decision is binding, so you would have to revoke all of your other applications if you do get accepted to that school. So you really have to know for sure that you're wanting to attend the school that you applied, early decision. And then the second part of that question was, are any colleges requiring early decision? And that the answer to that would be no. There's a myth about applying early action, which is the non-binding option. And a lot of students who are sort of at the top of their class and have been, preparing to apply, sometimes apply early action. So the numbers for acceptance are higher for early action, but it's not necessarily an indicator that acceptance rates are higher across the board for early action. So just a tidbit on that. So other than just knowing earlier for early decision or early action, there is no real benefit.
Ms. Chagnon, I had the rep from Harvard once tell me that students need to pay attention, that if they could do a better job with their application, that applying early is actually going to hurt you. If you could use the time more wisely and do a better job on your application, that you'd be far better off using that time. So again, you do not get an advantage by being early on the process. So be aware that you're not disadvantaging yourself because you're rushing something.
So for one of the questions was for the UC application, even though the transcript isn't required, is it still beneficial to send it if they count AP courses as part of their acceptance criteria? Keep in mind you're self-reporting all of your information on the applications, and they go based on the honor system essentially until you've been accepted to that school. UCs will not take transcripts. It would be a waste. They count the APs that you put in on the application and do not require transcripts. So there is no benefit to sending your transcripts in. Thank you, Ms. Curry, for adding that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We don't see any more in the chat right now, and feel free to unmute yourself if there's something that's more complicated to ask and it's easier to just say it out loud.
What if you have like your college already paid for, like all of it paid early?
I didn't hear the last part. You said, what if you already have your college paid for?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Like a relative is in, like if your parents are in the military and they have it paid for.
Great question. So you still need to fill out the FAFSA in order to validate that information. So that's wonderful, and thank your parents for their service. But yeah, you still need to follow the steps to apply to the FAFSA, and then work with the branch of the military that your parents are in to make sure you're not missing any steps with your application process.
Well, it's my dad.
Noah, I was in your shoes when I was in high school. I was very fortunate that I was able to get my college paid for through that military grant as well. And I did have to fill out the financial aid application.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody asked, should I still send a brag packet to someone outside of the school, like someone I interned for? Some teachers and other recommenders would like to see your brag packet, so you're welcome to share it with them as well. It's a really great overview of you as a student and all that you're involved in, or at the very least, you could send them a resume. And on that note, if you do already have a resume prepared, you could use that for the first part of your application or of your brag packet and not have to fill out all the honors and awards and extracurricular involvement that you have if you already have a resume.
And the presentation of the slides is going to be available to you on Canvas in the next hour or two whenever it gets uploaded. So Coach Jamal is going to upload that. I know he's somewhere right now in a meeting. So he's going to get that up to you on Canvas as well as the recorded presentations. So you'll have all the live links in the presentation as well as this video if you need it.
So do students have an educational resume as opposed to a career style resume? Are these useful to colleges? So I would add your work experience and your educational, because at this point your school is your job and all your extracurriculars are part of your experience. So at this point, it would be one and the same. And then, so it would be the same resume, and it may be useful to a college if they ask for your resume, but you're going to fill out your personal involvement and extracurriculars within the applications. And so it'll be helpful to you to have a resume that has everything already listed on there. Mr. Sager, did you have something?
I would say you're not going to be submitting a resume or any extra documents on your application. It's a form that you fill out. They want the information in a certain order. So you're going to fill in certain boxes. All of your activities and work experience are going to be a part of your application, but it's an application as though you went into a store and they to apply for a job and they had to do their application, said, fill this out. So that's what the colleges have for you as well. It's an application, and it's also not difficult. This process, a lot of people get very stressed out about. It's name, address, phone number, those kind of things for most of the application. And then, yeah, you put your grades and your classes in there and you show in certain categories, and that's it. Your essays could take you some time, but it's, again, you do one essay a weekend. You've got a lot of time to work on these things. So there shouldn't be a lot of anxiety and stress going on. But I do see students with that. You guys kind of work each other up, worrying. So just hear me now that it's going to be a-okay, and this is not difficult. The key thing is get in there and start looking at it, and then you'll have questions, and then you get those questions answered, and we're happy to help you with that. It really is pretty simple.
And as a reminder, there are videos to help you walk through the application process. So if anything is confusing in the UC, CSU, or Common App applications, you can go back and reference the videos. Let me see, do we have time? Yeah, I'm gonna share just one quick snippet of one, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm just gonna go back. So if you're curious to know how to complete the Common App, so you can click the video or the link. And I apologize because you're gonna have to hear my voice. All right, Broncos, now that we have created an account with Common App, I wanna go in and show you how you can input grades. All right, Broncos, wait, why is it? For instance, they're actually divorced, then you would put an information year of the divorce. I'm just pretending it's 2018. And then who do you make your permanent home? So again, that's just an example of how to, like, that we walked you through the application process. So in case you're curious to know, like, the step-by-steps, those videos will help with that.
And part of the hard, I think what students find stressful is choosing the best fit for you, because they hear you guys listen to all of your friends and who and where they're applying, and start to feel like you should also apply there. But it's really a personal process, and it should be based on your academic history, where, you know, if you have family in a certain area, if you're really close to your parents and your family, and being far away would be stressful to you, don't apply to places in Boston. If you're like me and can't stand the cold when it gets over 65 or under 65 degrees, then you should not be applying to places in New York. So things like that you need to consider. If you get really overwhelmed by huge amounts of people, you probably shouldn't be, applying to a place that has 33,000 students. So think about those factors when you're applying to schools, because those should be taken into consideration, and not just, branding and the name of the school and whether it's a good school or not. And because all colleges are, we have 3,000 plus colleges across the United States, yet our students tend to apply to 20. So just keep that in mind. and use that as a factor. I've heard some of my students with really creative lists, schools outside the norm, which we love to see. And it tells me that they've really done their research and are spending time figuring out where they want to apply.
All right, are there any last questions before we head out? We want to make sure to give you enough time to brush your teeth, eat your breakfast before school starts at 8:48.
Thanks for coming, you guys.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Hi,
Have a
guys.
great day.